Hey, it's Mike the Coach telling me we're on another NFL predictions video. Today we're doing the Minnesota Vikings, our first team in the NFC North, the last division that we have to do. The Vikings are going to be in very close contention to winning the NFC North this year because, they look. They're probably going to be fighting with the Packers for it. But look, they lost Stephon Diggs. That was their biggest loss this year. And then they went in the draft and they got Justin Jefferson, who may even improve. He might be even better than Stephon Diggs. He'll probably be around the same as that. So their offense may have just gotten better this year. They've also got Adam Thielen. I forgot his name. Their running back his name is Cook. I forgot. Crap. But their running back's very good. And then you've got Kyle Rudolph as a tight end. I forgot. Dalvin Cook? Yes, Dalvin Cook. He's a really, really good running back. And look at that defense. You see the front seven. You've got like Eric Kendricks. You've got Daniel Hunter. And then you go down to their secondary. You've got players like Mike Hughes, Harrison Smith, Jeff Gladney, who's a rookie. They have a pretty stable team, and plus you got Kirk Cousins, who he made it to the playoffs. He won a playoff game, something no one thought he'd be able to do in his career, and now they're looking like a really good team. And the Packers, we'll talk about them in the Packers video, but they're of course a very good team. Interesting to see. That'll be a pretty and maybe the Lions. I know obviously I haven't even done their predictions yet, but you can obviously see. I don't really think they will, but they could possibly take a huge step up this year. Even the Bears, this could be a very, very competitive division here, and it already will be between the Vikings and the Packers. So let's see if the Vikings, in my predictions, will be able to take over the NFC North for the time being. So in Week 1, Green Bay goes to Minnesota. Minnesota at home. This is a Week 1 game, and again, anything can happen in Week 1. But whatever. The Vikings at home, they have such an amazing offense, and the Green Bay they don't have any weapons for Aaron Rodgers. I think if they just give some weapons, if they had given Aaron Rodgers some weapons this year, they could be as good as they were years before, and they still are. Like last year, they made an NFC conference game. They are one of the best teams in the league right now, but I don't think going to Minnesota, I don't think they'll be able to sweep Minnesota this year. So I think in Week 1, Minnesota gets the win here. All right, and in Week 2, they go to Indianapolis. You've got Philip Rivers with more weapons than he had in L.A. So this is going to be a tough game for Minnesota. Their defense is going to struggle to keep up, but also you look at this Minnesota. They have an amazing offense. This will be a pretty high-scoring game. No, I don't know. Yeah, it'll be very close, but I think Minnesota in the end does. Philip Rivers, he's going to have more weapons. He's going to be better, but I don't know if he's going to be good enough to keep pace with what Minnesota has in that offense. And then in Week 3, Tennessee comes to town, and they've got Derrick Henry. They've got Ryan Tannehill. That offense is one of the best right now. So it's going to be. I honestly think Tennessee's offense is better than Minnesota's, and they've got an amazing defense. I see Tennessee taking this one. I could see Minnesota maybe sneaking one out here, but I really just think Tennessee has the better overall team. And even though Minnesota's at home, and even though they're coming off of a 2-win streak, I do think that they get the win here. And then they have a tough 4 games here, and then they go into Houston. Actually, a tough 5 games. And then in Week 4, they go into Houston. Houston, of course, they lost DeAndre Hopkins, but, David Johnson, he's a pretty good running back. They did boost that running back position. If you're going to look at this offense, positives you can see that they boosted their running back position. Okay, their offense is going to get but DeAndre Hopkins, he's in contention for the best wide receiver in the league. So that really, their offense overall goes down, but the running back unit did get better. And I think that Minnesota, you look, again, like I said, their offense got better over the offseason, and I think they'll be able to score more points and win the game. All right, so now they're 3-1. They go into Seattle. Seattle is a team that has an explosive offense. They have an amazing defense. They got Bobby Wagner, Chris Carson. That whole team is just stacked on to mission. Russell Wilson, he's a rushing threat, not as much as he was a few years back, but he still is a rushing threat. And He's pretty accurate with the ball. I think that Minnesota goes to Seattle and gets their first road loss. All right. And then Atlanta comes to town, and they've gotten 5 rough games, and Atlanta kind of gives them a break. They've got Julio Jones, they've got Calvin Ridley. That offense can put up points, but I don't really believe in it enough to say that they beat a team that is as good as Minnesota Vikings. So they get a win here. They're 4-2 going into their Week 7 bye week. If it's between Week 7 and Week 9, it is a good bye week. They have a pretty good bye week, and they go into Green Bay, and I don't see them sweeping Green Bay. I think that they split with Green Bay, and they go 4-3. And then the Detroit Lions, they are a team. Matthew Stafford, if he had a better, he's a better quarterback than like the stats say. He's a good quarterback, okay? But the rest of their team isn't very good, and you saw that last year. Their O-line definitely needs some work here, and I don't think there's any way that they're going to beat Minnesota at home. At least we'll see what happens in Week 17. If I don't know, maybe Minnesota's 12-3 in Week 17, and there's some reason I don't know. And then they go into Chicago. They get 3 straight divisional games. They were seeing this a lot this season. They go into Chicago. I don't really believe in Mitchell Trubisky or Nick Foles, but you do have to look. They have a solid defense right now, and obviously 0-10. I don't know that that's really going to be enough. I think their offense is kind of a mess. They got David Montgomery. That running back unit is going to be formidable, but right now I just think their offense is a mess. But I think since it's a divisional game at home and that defense is pretty good, mainly because it's a divisional game, I think Chicago can get the win here. And look, their offense is okay. I just think, it's a divisional game at home. I see them slipping in, getting the win. But then in Week 11, Dallas comes to town, and Dallas, they have the best wide receiver unit. Amari Cooper. I forgot the other guy's name. I remember it. Whatever. And then, Ezekiel Elliott, he's a very good running back, very talented. And, Dak Prescott, too. I know I don't give him any credit that he probably deserves, but he's a okay quarterback. He's not as good as the hype is, I think. And, he's probably good enough to get him to 9-7, but I don't know if he's good enough to get the win at Minnesota. I think that they could possibly slip in the win here, but you look at Minnesota, and again, they just have an amazing offense. Minnesota's offense, I think, is better than Dallas's offense, and I think that really is what gets the win here. So they're 6-4 going into the final stretch. All right. I don't know what Green Bay is at this point, but it's probably a pretty close battle looking at the fact they're 7-5. And then Carolina goes to Minnesota. At this point, Teddy Bridgewater will be well ingrained into their offense. He's just going to be their quarterback now. And he looked good when he played for the Saints last year. People always say that he's not a very good quarterback, and obviously I don't think that he's going to save this team or anything. And their offense is a bit of a mess. But, you look at it, and they and you look that Teddy Bridgewater's a very good quarterback. Their defense, it's got a lot of rookies that are be coming in here, but again, their team is kind of going to be put together. I just don't know. I feel like Minnesota can get the win here, but I think if all the rookies work out, Teddy Bridgewater plays really as good as he did last year, even though he's not going to have He's not going to have Michael Thomas. He's not going to have Alvin Kamara. He's not going to have the explosive offense in Carolina. So I think, unless he completely takes off, I think Minnesota gets the win here. And then Jacksonville goes to Minnesota. And Jacksonville, I'm not a big believer in Gardner Minshew, and I don't think Leonard Fournette is what he used to be. I think this is another team that their offense is a bit of a mess, and I think Minnesota gets the win here. All right, so they're 8-4, one of the better teams in the league at this point. They've got a few tough games, 2 divisional games, and I think they're prepared to fight it out to the end. And I think going into Tampa Bay, who are coming off of a bye week at home, Tom Brady is on this team, and he has more weapons. He's got Mike Evans. He's got Chris Jones, I think is his name. I don't even remember. And I think this Tampa Bay's offense is going to be one of the better in the league. And then they have an amazing defense. And they're going to be one of the best teams in the league. I think at home coming off of a bye week. and they're a better team than the Vikings. I think that they get the win here. Very competitive game here. They could definitely keep it close, but I think Tampa Bay is going to get the win. Knock them back to 8-5. I don't see Chicago sweeping them. I think they got a lucky break in Week 10, but I don't see them sweeping the Vikings. And then they go into New Orleans. This is a game that really, this is going to show, because obviously they're 9-5 at this point. This is going to show, are you a playoff team? Are you going to be a contender for the Super Bowl, or are you just gliding in on this pretty, it's a semi-easy schedule. You've got some easy wins in there. You took advantage of things, except for in Week 10. Really, you haven't really, Seattle beat you. Tennessee beat you. You're being beat by all the teams that are thought to be possibly Super Bowl contending. And now you're going to go up against New Orleans. This is going to be a game where they have to prove themselves. And New Orleans, they have one of the best offenses. But you look, Minnesota, they have one of the better defenses. These are two teams. You saw in the playoffs last year, Minnesota beat New Orleans, and I think Minnesota has gotten better. And, of course, just because they beat them one time doesn't mean they're going to beat them every time. But I do think that Minnesota is up to par. Obviously, I think they can make this game competitive, and I think Minnesota can win this and kind of prove to everyone, hey, look at us. We beat the Saints. We're 10-5. We are completely prepared to go into these playoffs and show our stuff. And then I think they go into Detroit, and I think honestly, like I said, Matthew Stafford, they're a very good offense. They're a very talented team. And I think they can get the win here. Probably easier than Chicago did, not purely because it's a divisional game, but they do have a lot of talent. Same with the Bears. So 10-6. I don't know. Green Bay 7-5 right now. How will they do? Will they be number one? Obviously, they're probably going to make the playoffs at this point. So they go into the playoffs 10-6. People aren't in A. Are they going to be? You look. They had it rough against winning teams. 5-4 against winning teams here. Really bad record against amazing teams. So they'll make the playoffs probably, and they will do whatever they do. And now we're going to do worst case scenario. I forgot to do worst case scenario for, I think it was the Steelers. So sorry about that. But anyways, we go, and this is going to be the worst case scenario. I think that Green Bay could sweep them. Justin Jefferson is a complete bust. Kirk Cousins he just has a horrible year. Dalvin Cook doesn't, their whole offense just takes a dive. That front seven collapses. Everything goes bad. I think they 100%, if they, on their worst case scenario, they lose these 5 games easily. This is worst case scenario, they lose these 5 games, all right? And then they go through here, and I think Dallas could beat them right here. And I think New Orleans could beat them right here. Now, this is as bad as I am willing to say that the Minnesota Vikings are this season. This is worst case scenario. This is complete destruction. This is not likely at all, okay? This is like, if you are a Vikings hater, if you are a Packers fan, this is what you want to happen. I do not see it possible with the players and the talent that they have to go 4-12 or to lose any of these games. But I do think that it is technically possible if they basically self-destruct for them to somehow go 5-11, which again would probably still have them really at not even last in their division. So you should take that as a compliment that your worst case scenario is probably realistically what my favorite team, Washington, is going to go. Nah, never mind. So let me just put all this stuff back to where it was. Wait, I had Detroit winning. Crap. Sorry about that. All right. That. What does that get him up to? Come on, load in. We're going to do best case scenario. Oh, there we go. And best case scenario is like Justin Jefferson is insane. Like a Michael Thomas type player. He comes into the league and he is explosive. He is the best wide receiver in the league, getting thousands of yards this season, like 1,500 yards this season. Kirk Cousins plays like he's never played before. He takes off. He proves all of his haters wrong. and this is their best case scenario. Of course, I think that they could win. They could probably go and they could win all their games before the bye week, which would make them at least 12-4. And then, of course, they could win these 2 games. And I'm going to say that that is about as good as they can get. Come on. Come on. Load. I'm so sorry about this. My computer is, like, slow. And also, while it's loading. Of course. Why the heck would I want to take it away? So, 14-2 is the best record they could get. They are proved to be one of the best teams in the league. They probably win the division. Everyone is like, wow, look at them, what they did. But, again, that's not likely. That's about as likely as them going 5-11. Well, going 14-2 is probably more likely than going 5-11. Still. And yeah, so, where there's a few more games that they lost. Oh, yeah, they lost this one and they lost this one. So, 10-6 is the record. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. You can go to playoffpredictors.com and make your own one of these. Send them to me on Twitter, on Instagram, in the YouTube comments. Send them to me using Patreon somehow. You can just go to playoffpredictors.com and he's got everything here. It's completely free. And yeah, ignore week 18. That is the playoffs. So we've only got 3 more teams to do, and then we can do the playoffs. And I mean, I've got other videos coming out every other day that aren't predictions. So if you're looking forward to that, you can go ahead and subscribe. I do predictions every single day. Well, for the next 4 days I will be, and then I'll go back to just doing videos every other day. Unless you want me to keep on doing, like, look, if you guys want me to like keep on updating my predictions, like I predict every team and do a playoff predictions, and then I redo them and update them every day. Like, do you guys want me to keep on doing that? It'll be a ton of work. But honestly, if you want to see that, let me know. Like if right now you're thinking, hey, that's a good idea, I'd like to see that, let me know. Because I will do it 100%. If even one person would enjoy that and would watch that, I would 100% put in the work to do that. I enjoy doing these. Prediction videos are my favorite things. These are my absolutely favorite things to record. All the other videos, I love them, of course. But these are my favorite. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I do have a Patreon. I mentioned that a bit ago. Because I'm trying to have a podcast. It's Carsonian Beans. All the links for my Twitter